The first hit on the door rattles the picture frames. The second makes the cheap glass in the front window hum. By the third, I'm already out of my chair, heart pounding so hard it feels like it might bruise my ribs from the inside. Whoever is on my porch isn't just knocking, they're pounding like the house owes them money. My name is Ava Collins. I'm 32 years old, and I built a quiet life specifically to avoid this feeling. The sharp electric jolt of my body going straight back to survival mode. The fourth blow lands. My front door shivers. Okay, okay, I mutter, wiping my palms on my jeans as I cross the living room. I hear you. The TV is still on in the background, some late night baking show humming softly, pretending this is an ordinary Thursday in an ordinary olive greenhouse on an ordinary street in Austin. It's not. The pounding stops just as I reach the entryway. For 1 second, the silence is worse. My porch light spills a wedge of yellow under the door, cutting across the hardwood like a warning line. My fingers hover over the deadbolt, then pull back and reach for the small console table instead. The folder sits there, plain, white, unremarkable, unless you've rehearsed the moment you would hand it over 1,000 times. My hand finds the edge of it. The cardboard is cool and familiar under my fingertips. Prepared. I exhale, slow, steady, practiced. Not 19 anymore, I remind myself. Not the girl who swallowed it. Not the girl who drove away and cried only once she saw the highway sign. The doorbell rings then, 3 times. Not frantic, not polite, 3 separate presses. Long enough between each that I have time to count them. I know that pattern. My body knows it before my mind does. The tightening in my chest, the way my scalp prickles, the sudden rush of heat to my face. 3 rings, the way my mother always pressed a doorbell when she was in no mood to be kept waiting. For a moment, I'm frozen with my hand on the folder. Rationally, I could tell myself it's a coincidence. A delivery, a neighbor, a wrong address. But rationality has nothing on the old instincts that wake up all at once. Another slam on the door. My house that I bought myself. My throat is suddenly dry. I slide the deadbolt back. Not enough to open the door, just enough to peek through the peephole. The hallway outside is washed in the dim yellow of the porch light. I see the top of a rented SUV, big enough to make the narrow driveway feel crowded. 2 suitcases sit like planted flags on my welcome mat. One floral, one black. A tote bag slumps in the corner, bulging with clothes. And standing between all of it, angled toward my door like they already own whatever's behind it. My mother, and my sister, Emma. My lungs forget how to work. Mom's hair is shorter than the last time I saw her. More gray than brown now, blown out smooth like she's on her way to a brunch she's late for. Emma's hair is long and blonde and perfect, like always. She's leaning on the handle of her suitcase, scrolling her phone with one hand. They look exactly the way I remember them, like they belong in the center of whatever room they're in. The only thing missing is my father. For one stupid split-second heartbeat, my brain registers his absence with a flicker of sick hope. Maybe he isn't coming. Maybe... My mother looks up straight into the peephole like she can feel me there. She smiles. The expression is so familiar my stomach flips. The small, satisfied curve of her mouth that always meant, "Ah, there you are. Let's get back to the script." "Ava," she calls, sing-song through the door. "Honey, open up. It's freezing out here." It's 72 degrees. I swallow. My fingers tighten around the folder until the cardboard bites into my palm. 13 years of silence, broken by 4 hits and 3 doorbell rings. I told myself I was ready for this day if it ever came. I prepared for it, spent money I didn't really have on a lawyer who helped me put language and law around things I used to only feel. But preparation is theory. This is impact. "Ava," my mom calls again, a threat of impatience now. "Don't be rude. We saw your car. We know you're home." Emma doesn't say anything, but she shifts her weight, glances at the front window, then right back down at her phone. My door, my house, my life. It all looks like a hotel lobby to them. A place to pass through, not a boundary to respect. I straighten my shoulders. "You're not 19, I remind myself again. You own this house. You pay these bills. You built this life. It's time to act like it." I unlock the deadbolt and open the door just enough to stand in the space. No wider than my body. No invitation given. My mother's smile explodes into something brighter when she sees my face. For a moment, I see her the way other people always have: charismatic, warm, effortlessly dramatic. There she is, she breathes, like I've just appeared at the top of a staircase in a ball gown. Oh my God, look at you. You're so grown. I manage a stiff, "Hi." Emma glances up. Her eyes flick over me, down the hallway behind me, across the polished wood floors and the art prints on the wall. Assessing, calculating. "Nice place," she says mildly, then returns to her phone. My heart is beating fast enough that my hands feel numb, but I keep my voice level. "What are you doing here?" My mother's expression droops theatrically, wounded. "That's your first question?" she says, pressing a hand to her chest. Not, "How was the drive?" or "How have you been?" "I haven't heard from you in over a decade," I say. I think, "What are you doing here?" is pretty reasonable. She exhales, flusters, then waves a hand like she's brushing away smoke. "We'll talk inside," she says. "Come on, let us in. The neighbors are probably staring." She steps forward, reaching for her suitcase handle and at the same time angling her body toward the opening. I don't move. The door doesn't move. Her suitcase bumps against my foot. Her eyes snap to mine. "Ava," she says, softer now, dangerous in that softness. "Honey, move." "No," I say. Her forehead creases. She heard the word, but it doesn't seem to register as something that applies to her. Emma glances up again, eyebrows lifting. "What do you mean, no?" Mom demands. "We've been driving all day. We're exhausted. We came all this way." "Without telling me," I cut in. "I texted you this morning," she says, already annoyed. "You didn't answer." "My phone's been on me all day," I say. "There was no text." She lifts her phone like a shield, scrolling quickly. "Well, I sent it. You probably just ignored it." There it is. The story shifts. Slippery as always. If I didn't get the message, it's my fault. If there was no message, it's because I'm dramatic. The facts bend automatically and fall into place around the conclusion that I am the problem. This used to work on me. It used to send me spiraling, doubting my own memory, my own perception. Used to. I take a small breath and let it out. "Okay," I say. "Well, I didn't know you were coming, and you can't stay here." The words land like a dropped plate. Emma's mouth falls open. My mother blinks once, twice, as if she misheard me and her brain is doing its best to correct the audio. "We can't?" she repeats. "No," I say again. "You can't stay here." The hallway seems to shrink around us. Somewhere down the block, a dog starts barking. A car passes, the headlights sliding weakly across the edge of my driveway. The world keeps doing what it does, stubbornly unaffected by the small earthquake happening on my porch. My mother straightens. Her mouth flattens into the line I know too well, the one that always came before punishment. "Ava Lynn," she says quietly, full name sharp. "We are your family." I feel the old reflex twitch inside me, the desire to rush in, to soothe, to fix the situation before anyone's voice gets too loud. I let it twitch. I don't obey it. "That's a relationship," I say, "not a magic word." "We raised you," she insists, voice rising. "We fed you, clothed you, gave you a roof over your head. You also watched me walk out at 19 and never once asked where I was going," I say before I can talk myself out of it. "Let's not get selective with the details." Her nostrils flare. Emma's eyes flick between us like she's watching a tennis match she didn't know she signed up for. "This isn't the time for that," Mom snaps. "We are in need, Ava. We have nowhere else to go right now. Your sister—" "I can speak for myself," Emma mutters, eyes back on her phone, but she doesn't actually say anything. Mom powers through. "Your sister had a setback, a rough patch. We thought, what better time to reconnect than when we could all help each other? You—" She gestures vaguely toward the house. "You're doing so well. You have space. You can help us get on our feet again. That's what family does." On the console table behind me, the edge of the folder presses between my shoulder blades like a reminder. Family. Help. Obligation. Words tossed around like confetti. Light and pretty until you realize each one is made of stone and someone expects you to carry all of them. So, that's your plan, I say. Just show up with luggage and move in? My mother bristles at the word. It's not moving in. It's staying with you, temporarily. And of course, we'll contribute when we can. We're not freeloaders, Ava. Don't be dramatic. How long is temporarily? I ask. She opens her mouth, closes it. We'll discuss that later. I nod slowly. Right. There it is. There what is, she snaps. The part where it only benefits you, I say. My voice is surprisingly even, like I'm laying out terms in a business meeting. Where I rearrange my life to accommodate you, and you give nothing concrete in return except the expectation that I'll be grateful for the chance to serve. My mother actually laughs, soft and disbelieving. Wow, listen to you. Someone's been spending a lot on therapy. Yes, I say, and I let a little steel into my tone. I have, and it was worth every dollar. Something shifts in her face. Her eyes narrow. So that's what this is about, she says. Some stranger put ideas in your head and now you think you're too good for your own blood. The urge to defend, to explain, bubbles up. But I swallow it down. I'm not too good for you, I say. I'm just no longer willing to be your sacrifice. Emma snorts quietly. Oh my God, she mutters. Can we please stop with the melodrama and just go inside? I need a shower. You're not going inside, I say, turning my gaze on her. Either of you. Two sets of eyes lock on mine. I reach back without looking and pick up the folder. The weight of it grounds me. I knew this day might come, I say. So I wrote everything down. With help, with witnesses, with a lawyer. My mother's eyes drop to the folder like it might be a weapon. In a way, it is. What is that? Emma asks, suspicion finally cracking through her boredom. Boundaries, I say. In writing. I hold the folder out just past the threshold, but not enough for them to step in. My mother hesitates, then snatches it from my hand. She flips it open. Her eyes skim the first page. The color drains from her face. What is this supposed to be? She demands. The no-stay notice, I say. It states that you can't stay on my property without my explicit prior written consent. Her eyes flicker. This says trespassing. If you violate it, that's what it becomes, I say. Emma leans in, scanning over her shoulder. Seriously? You typed up a whole contract about not helping your own family? There's more, I say. There's a summary of the money that changed hands when I was younger. The car you borrowed. I glance at Emma. That I paid to repair. The credit cards opened in my name. The emergency loans I took out at 21 because you told me Dad's hours got cut and you just needed a little help. My mother's mouth tightens. We always meant to pay that back. You never did, I say. And that's fine, truly. I'm not sending a bill. That list is just there to remind me that I have paid enough, that I don't owe you my home on top of everything. Emma's lips twist. You kept records? Yeah, I say. Turns out I'm good at keeping track of what people drink and what people take. My mother slaps the folder closed. The crisp sound echoes. This is disgusting, she spits. Who turned you into this? I blink slowly. There's a small, calm place inside me that feels almost detached, watching this unfold. No one turned me anywhere, I say. This is just me without the guilt. Her jaw clenches. We are standing out here with suitcases, Ava, she says low and furious. We are in need and you have the nerve to talk about paperwork? Yes, I say, because the last time your need clashed with my well-being, only one of us walked away whole. What's that supposed to mean? Emma demands. I meet her eyes. They're the same hazel as mine, but softer, easier on the world. The world has always been easier on her. High school, I say. Junior year, you borrowed my car. She blinks, then rolls her eyes. Are you kidding me? You're still mad about that? No, I say. Mad isn't the word I'd use anymore, but it was the night everything ended. For me. My mother groans. Not this again. It was an accident. The windshield was smashed, I say. There was beer in the cup holders. The front bumper was hanging by a thread. You came home stumbling, and when I asked what happened, you said, "Don't freak out, it's no big deal." Emma shifts, uncomfortable. I was a kid. So was I say. My mother waves a hand. We asked you, very reasonably, why you let her drive it when you knew the car was fragile. My chest tightens. That sentence is a ghost that still lives under my skin. I hear it in her exact tone, the way she emphasized you, the way the blame slid so easily from the person who caused the damage to the one who allowed it to happen. You didn't say anything to Emma, I remind her. You didn't ask if she'd been drinking. You didn't ask who else was in the car. You looked straight at me and said, "Why did you let her use the car? You know it's fragile." We were upset, my mother says stiffly. We had to pay for repairs. I paid for them, I say, with my savings, with the money I'd been putting aside for community college. You said it was only fair because I enabled her. And when I packed a bag and left with $200 and a spare key, do you remember what you did? My mother's lips press together. She doesn't answer. You went back to sleep, I say. You didn't call, you didn't follow, you didn't ask where I was going, and for 13 years, you didn't ask if I was okay. A quiet falls over the porch. Even the night seems to lean in. I'm not shaking. That surprises me. Back then, my hands shook so hard I had trouble turning the ignition. I remember gripping the steering wheel until my knuckles hurt, driving into darkness with my stomach hollowed out, wondering if I was making the biggest mistake of my life or the first real decision I'd ever made. Now, I stand barefoot on my own porch, in my own house, in a city I chose, with a folder of boundaries in my mother's hand and the power to either open the door or close it for good. I didn't come all this way to be lectured about the past, my mother says finally. And I didn't get out of that house just to invite it back in, I answer. Her eyes flash. So that's it? You're just going to turn your back on us? After everything we've done for you? For a moment, the old script tries to hook into me. The idea that they made me, fed me, clothed me, therefore they own me. I inhale slowly the way my therapist taught me. 5 counts in, hold, 5 counts out. Let's be clear, I say. You did what the law required. You fed me. You gave me a place to sleep. You also taught me that my worth depended on how well I could disappear behind Emma's needs. Emma bristles. I didn't ask for that. I know, I say. It wasn't your job to ask. It was theirs. They decided you were the sun and I was orbit. My mother looks genuinely offended. We loved you both. You protected her, I say. You used me. The words are bare, simple, unsweetened. Saying them out loud doesn't shatter anything. It clarifies. You're twisting things, my mother hisses. You were always the responsible one, the mature one. We trusted you. That's why we leaned on you. Trusted me to clean up the mess, I correct. Trusted me to stay quiet. To be the shock absorber between Emma and consequences. That's not trust. That's exploitation with a warm tone. Emma is watching me differently now. There's a crease between her eyebrows. She looks less like she's waiting to get to the good part and more like she's realizing the story started before she ever paid attention. Look, she says, shifting her suitcase handle. Can we talk about all of this later? Inside? I'm tired. We're tired. This whole boundary, paperwork, confrontation thing, can we not do this on the porch? No, I say. Her jaw drops a little. You're seriously going to leave us out here? What do you expect us to do? Sleep in the car? There are hotels, I say. Motels, Airbnbs. You clearly found the money to rent an SUV. That's for emergencies, my mother says hotly. This is your emergency, I say. Not mine. Her cheeks color, 2 bright flags of fury. For the first time in my life, I see something else there too. Beneath the anger, beneath the self-righteousness. Fear. We don't have anyone else, she says, and for a heartbeat, she sounds small. I feel that, like a hand on a door inside my chest. For a dangerous second, I picture myself opening everything. Telling them to come in, have a shower, sleep in the guest room. Telling myself I can handle it, that it'll only be for a little while. Then I remember the girl I was after they left me alone in that kitchen with a broken windshield and an empty savings account. The one who found night shifts behind counters and lived in rooms with peeling paint and learned to make cold brew that tasted like salvation. The girl who built something from nothing but stubbornness and caffeine. I owe her more than I owe the people who made her run. You had 13 years to pick up a phone, I say. You didn't. This is not my emergency. My mother's body goes rigid. You are unbelievable, she spits. What kind of daughter does this? The kind you created, I say. We stare at each other across the threshold. I realize suddenly that this is the moment all those late-night talks with my therapist were steering me toward. Not some crying confession or a dramatic apology scene that fixes everything. Just this, a point where I choose myself, clearly, calmly, and let the consequences land where they belong. You need to leave my property, I say. Now. Emma shakes her head in disbelief. You're going to regret this, she says. People are going to hear about what you did. My lips twitch. There's no humor in it. I'm sure they will, I say. And when they do, they'll get my side by email. In writing. My mother clutches the folder like it's a live grenade. You can't just throw us out, she says. We're your family. I meet her eyes. I let her see every late night, every double shift, every morning I walked into my little craft beverage station with aching feet and a spine made of resolve. I run a late night craft beverage station in Austin, I say quietly. Cold brew, steeped teas, artisanal sodas, the kind of drinks that kept me standing when there was no one else there to lean on. For 13 years, I have taken care of myself without a single birthday dinner, a single, how are you doing? A single call from you. I've learned to love my work more than people because my work never asked me to disappear. My mother swallows. Her eyes are shiny, but I don't know if it's sadness or rage or both. 6 months ago, business took off. I continue. Regulars turned into loyal customers. A small group of investors approached me. For the first time in my life, I had money in my account without worrying about rent. I bought this house, a small olive green place on a quiet street. Peaceful enough to scare me. My first night here, I lay awake half expecting the universe to take it back. I gesture around us. I have built this, alone. And you don't get to just show up and claim it because your lives got inconvenient. For a long moment, no one speaks. Then my mother's face hardens. She thrusts the folder back at me. Keep your papers, she snarls. You'll need something to keep you warm when you're old and alone. Something inside me wants to flinch at that. But it doesn't. It just notes it, adds it to a list already miles long. I'd rather be alone than swallowed, I say. I take the folder back, tuck it under my arm. We're not done, my mother says. Her voice has that simmering quality I remember from childhood, the promise of a storm. You can slam a door in our faces, but blood is blood. People will judge you for this. And when you find yourself in need one day, don't you dare think about coming to us. I never did, I say. She glares at me one last time, then jerks her suitcase handle and steps back. Come on, Emma, she snaps. Emma doesn't move right away. Her eyes are on me, searching my face for something. A crack, an apology, an invitation. I give her none of those. What happened to you? She asks quietly. I stopped confusing sacrifice with love, I say. She scoffs, but it sounds shaky. You've changed. Yeah, I say. I have. She rolls her suitcase off the porch. The wheels clatter loudly against the cracked concrete. My mother stalks toward the SUV. Before she opens the door, she turns back, eyes blazing. You'll regret this, Ava, she calls. I swear to God, this isn't the end. I lean my shoulder against the doorframe. I hope it is, I say. But I know better. I close the door. The sound is softer than it feels. On the other side, I hear muffled voices, the slam of car doors, the angry rev of an engine backing out of my driveway. Headlights sweep across the blinds like restless ghosts, then fade. Silence returns, loud in my ears. My legs feel like they're made of wet sand, but they hold. I stand there for a moment, forehead resting against the wood, breathing. This is where the story used to end for me, at the moment of leaving, the moment of escape. But I've learned that peace isn't a finish line, just a new starting point. My phone buzzes on the console table. Once, twice. Again and again, the notifications stacking like hail. I pick it up. Group messages, names I haven't seen on my screen in years. Cousins, aunts, the occasional uncle who always liked to lecture me about respecting my elders without ever asking why I left. They're fast, efficient, in sync. Your mother just called us sobbing. Ava, what did you do? I can't believe you turned them away. Heartless, ungrateful. A girl who forgets her roots will be cursed to dig alone. I stare at the words. They barely sting. The outrage, the moral theater, it all feels overfamiliar. Like rewatching a show I used to be addicted to and now can't believe I wasted the time on. I open my email instead. My fingers move calmly across the screen, drafting one message, adding every relative's address I have. Subject line, boundaries and contact going forward. I keep the body short. All contact with me must be via email. I will not respond to group texts, calls, or social media posts. I will not provide money, housing, or emergency bailouts. Unannounced visits will be considered trespassing and referred to my attorney. This is not up for discussion. I hover for half a second over the last line, then add, I am no longer the sacrificial one. I hit send. The whoosh sound is small but satisfying. The next few days are exactly what you'd expect from a family tree that thrives on drama. My cousin posts a long Facebook status about kids these days, who get fancy and forget the ones who raised them. My aunt posts a vague, passive-aggressive Bible verse about honoring your mother and father, followed by a paragraph about being stabbed in the back by your own flesh and blood. Screenshots of my email bounce around, stripped of context, decorated with crying emojis and angry reacts. I don't reply. I watch exactly long enough to know the story they're telling, then I mute the group thread and delete the app from my phone for a while. The people who want the full version of anything will ask. Most won't. They never have. The shop keeps running. That's the thing about work. It doesn't care about your personal drama. The espresso machine needs cleaning. The nitrogen canisters need replacing. The rent needs paying. Investors need updates. People still want their cold brew, their lavender-steeped tea, their hibiscus soda with the sugar rim. If anything, business gets better. Fall creeps into Austin in its own half-hearted way. Barely cooler nights, the suggestion of crispness in the air. I add a smoked cinnamon cold brew to the menu, and people go crazy for it. The co-working space downtown renews our contract and adds a second location. I'm busy, tired, steady. 3 months pass. For a while, the message is slow. Outrage has a short half-life. People move on to fresher gossip, divorces, engagements, a cousin's secret baby. Then one morning, I'm balancing a crate of glass bottles on my hip, trying to wedge my shoulder against the back door of the shop when my phone buzzes in my back pocket. I juggle everything to fish it out. The subject line on the email is plain. From Emma Collins. Subject, job application. I stand there in the narrow alley behind the shop, breath-making little clouds in the almost cool morning air, and stare at her name. My thumb hovers, then taps. Her message is short. Ava, you said if I ever wanted help with something practical, I could ask in writing. I need a job. I don't have references and I don't know how to write a resume that doesn't look like trash. Can you send me a list of what to do? Emma, no guilt trip, no accusations, no after everything we've been through, just bald, awkward need, stripped of decoration. I lean against the brick wall for a second, listening to the hum of the city waking up around me. This is the part people get wrong when they romanticize boundaries. They think it means you harden. You cut people off forever and shrug when they drown. What it really means is that you stay in your own lane and you decide what crosses the line and what doesn't. I told Emma in one of my last emails, buried in all the logistics, that if she ever wanted help with something practical and realistic, she could ask me like a stranger would. No expectation, no guilt. This qualifies. I type out a reply on my break. Emma, I can't be your reference. I don't know if you show up on time or do the work, but I can tell you how to write a resume that will at least get read. 1. Make a list of every job you've had in the last 5 years, even if it was only for a month. 2. Under each job, write what you actually did, not what the title was. Use action verbs. 3. Be honest about gaps, but don't overshare. Family responsibilities is enough. 4. Look for service jobs, cafes, retail, front desk. Start there. 5. Show up 15 minutes early. Don't call out unless you're dying. People notice. Send me your draft and I'll clean it up. Ava. I send it and put my phone away. No overthinking. No waiting by the inbox like a teenager. Weeks pass before she writes back. When she does, the email includes a blurry selfie taken in the bathroom of what looks like a chain restaurant. She's wearing a black polo, her hair pulled back, a name tag pinned crookedly to her chest. She looks exhausted and solid, real in a way she's never looked in any of her carefully curated social media posts. Got the job, she writes. The pay sucks. My feet hurt, but they said I pick things up fast. I stare at the photo for a long moment, then tap out. That's how it starts. Oh, we don't suddenly become sisters who text all day. There's no montage of heartwarming calls. Sometimes months go by with nothing. Then she sends a question about filing taxes or how many times it's okay to swap shifts before your manager thinks you're flaky. I answer with bullet points. She sends a thumbs up emoji. Nothing more, nothing less. 6 months after the night they showed up on my porch, I get another email. This time from my mother. Her subject line is more formal. From Linda Collins. Subject, request to visit. My throat tightens as I click it. Ava, I would like to see you in person. I understand your rules about unannounced visits. I am asking for a scheduled time. I will come alone. No suitcases. I won't stay the night. If you say no, I will accept it. Mom, I read it twice, 3 times. I don't rush to reply. I go for a walk instead, down the quiet sidewalks of my neighborhood. The oak trees make lacy shadows on the pavement. Kids' bikes are piled on lawns. Somewhere, someone is grilling. Life goes on, indifferent and generous. I think about the girl I used to be, the one who might have grabbed onto this as a lifeline. She wants to see me. Maybe this is it. Maybe she'll apologize. Maybe we'll fix it. I think about the woman I am now, the one who knows a single visit won't undo 3 decades. When I get home, I sit at my kitchen table, the one I bought with my own money in the house I chose, and open my laptop. I write, Mom, you can come by on the 14th at 2 p.m. for 1 hour. Rules. We don't talk about money. We don't talk about who owes who. We don't rewrite the past. If any of that starts, the visit ends. Ava. Her reply comes quicker than I expect. I'll be there. Mom. The day of I clean the kitchen because it's what I do when I'm anxious. I consider making coffee but decide against it. I don't want to play hostess. I don't want to sugarcoat this with cookies. At 1:59 p.m., there's a gentle knock on the door. No pounding, no 3 rings, just a single, almost tentative tap. I open it. She's there, alone. No suitcase, no stormy entourage. She looks older. People always say that, but it's true. The lines around her mouth are deeper. Her eyes have a tiredness I don't remember. Ava, she says. Hi, I answer. We stand there for a second, measuring the distance between who we were and who we are now. Are you going to let me in? She asks. I think about it. Literally think about it. Then I nod and step aside. An hour, I say. You read the rules? I did, she says. I'll try. She walks in slower than last time, eyes scanning the space with a kind of quiet awe instead of appraisal. She doesn't reach for anything, doesn't comment on the decor, just stands in the middle of my kitchen and breathes. It's nice, she says finally. Thank you, I say. We sit at the table. The silence between us is thick, but not the same as the old kind. It doesn't demand. It just sits. How's the shop? She asks. Busy, I say. Good, she nods. Emma sent me a picture, she adds, of her in her work uniform. Yeah, I say. She showed me too. She says you helped, my mother murmurs. With the resume, the practical stuff? I shrug. Advice is easy. Her fingers trace the grain of the table. She seems different, she says. Tired, but in a good way. Real, I say. Tired and real go together. We talk about small things. The weather, traffic, how Austin's changed since I first moved here. She doesn't ask about my investors. She doesn't ask for money. She doesn't bring up the night on the porch. At one point, she looks around and says softly, You did all this on your own. No accusation, no heat, just observation. Yeah, I say. She swallows. We didn't make it easy. No, I say. You didn't. She doesn't argue, doesn't rush to explain. The lack of defensive monologue feels like a miracle and a loss at the same time. There's so much we could dig up, but neither of us is equipped for a full excavation. The clock on the stove reads 2:54 p.m. when she stands. I should go, she says. Traffic and all. I nod, stand too. We walk to the door together. She pauses before stepping out. I want you to know, she says, staring at the doormat, that I've been thinking about things, about how we treated you, how we let some things happen. My throat tightens. I wait. I'm not ready to talk about it, she says. I don't have the words yet, and I know that's not fair. You had to find yours without us. She looks up then, eyes wet. But I see it now, at least some of it, the shape of it, and I can't unsee it. I exhale slowly. That's something, I say. She nods. I know it's not enough. It's not nothing, I answer. We stand there a second more. She opens her mouth, closes it, then shakes her head. I won't come without asking again, she says. Good, I say. She steps out onto the porch. Bye, Ava, she says. Bye, Mom, I answer. I close the door behind her. This time, it doesn't feel like an explosion. It feels like placing a book back on a shelf. The folder is still there on the console, exactly where I left it months ago. I run my hand over it, the cardboard warm from the afternoon light. It's not a weapon anymore. It's a reminder. I am not the girl who stays quiet to keep the peace. I am not the backup plan, the emotional shock absorber, the automatic yes in the face of someone else's crisis. I don't carry anyone's burdens unless I choose to. I don't repay emotional debts I never agreed to incur. I am no one's shadow. My house is a different kind of full now. On weekends, friends come over with board games and cheap takeout. We blast music and argue about movies and drink whatever new concoction I'm experimenting with. Smoked cardamom lemonade, cherry lime cold brew, rosemary orange soda that tastes like summer and Christmas at the same time. There is laughter here. Not strained, not performative, not brittle. The kind that spills out of people without asking. The kind that doesn't cost me anything but time. Sometimes, late at night, when the dishwasher hums and the street is quiet, I catch myself looking at the door. I think about that first night I slept here, how the silence scared me so much I left the TV on just to hear another human voice. I'm not scared of the quiet anymore. If anything, I'm protective of it. The folder stays on the shelf by the door, spine facing out. I dust it like I do everything else. I don't clutch it. I don't reread it obsessively. I just let it be what it is. Proof that I once chose myself in writing. Looking back, this isn't a revenge story. There's no dramatic courtroom scene where everyone admits they were wrong. There's no magical reconciliation where we cry in a group hug and the credits roll over a family dinner. There's just me. Me learning that saying no is not cruelty. That boundaries are not walls, but doors I get to lock or open at will. That no one, not even the people who gave me their last name, has the right to drag me back into a role they're comfortable with if that role costs me my sanity. Peace doesn't always look like forgiveness tied in a bow. Sometimes it looks like a closed door and a quiet kitchen and a life I built with my own two hands. I tell this story for anyone who has ever been the strong one, the responsible one, the invisible one holding everything together while everyone else got to fall apart. You don't owe anyone the sacrifice of yourself. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is stand in your own doorway, hand on the frame, heart pounding, and say, no, not anymore. And then close the door, gently, firmly, on the life that nearly swallowed you, so you can open it, someday, on something better. Thank you, my loves, for watching until the end of the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the newest videos.